And this is where the falls was at its highest one time, over 300 feet high. It has eroded back at the rate of 6 feet a year, forming this 7-mile-long gorge that we're going to be looking at here. We'll be down in when we're on the meeting of this boat. We'll be down in when we're on the Cave of the Winds. 6 feet a year up until 1956, when between the American and the Canadian government through a treaty, they built a control dam, which I will show you as we leave Goat Island. There's 18 gates or locks that can be raised or lowered out of the water at any time. But the treaty says during the daylight hours, 50% of the water has to be going through those gates, going over the Canadian Falls. It does not affect the American or the Bridal Veil Falls. So what we're looking at down here is only 50% of the water. The other 50% is being diverted 7 miles downriver to 3 power plants and 2 reservoirs. On the American side, the Robert Moses power plant, completed in 1961. This replaced the old Shelkoff power plant that I told you about that was destroyed in a rock slide in 1956. Puts out 2 million kilowatts. It's fed by a 2,000-acre reservoir. We Americans take our water about 3 miles above the falls, and it runs completely underground for 5 miles until it reaches that reservoir. On the Canadian side, they have 2 power plants. Ceramic 1 and 2, they put out about 1.8 million kilowatts. They're older and smaller. Ceramic 1 built in 1917. Ceramic 2 built in 1950. They're fed by an 1,800-acre reservoir. Canadians take the water right here in front of that control dam, and it runs for 9 miles in an underground and open canal system until it reaches the reservoir. But the treaty states at night and all winter long, from November till April, they can raise all 18 of those gates. And when they do, they take another 25% of the water. And when they do that, the water level below the falls will drop another 5 feet from what it is now. So they fill up these reservoirs and let it out through the penstocks and the overflow. So 75% of the water is being taken at night and all winter long. That's cut the erosion factor down from 6 feet a year now to only 1 foot every 10 years. Wow. Because of this control dam. Wow. Okay? So we're standing here. They estimate this is where the Canadian Falls used to be 6,000 years ago. We're going to see the whirlpool. Depending on how many gates are up and down, about 140 feet deep. Off to the left here is your Class 6 rapid. This is the narrowest and shallowest part of the 36-mile-long river. It's only about 300 feet across, 40 feet deep. But those rapids are traveling about 24 miles an hour. And they'll let you right into the whirlpool, go around, down and out, and head to Lake Ontario. Then you're going to see the red and yellow cable car that goes from Canada, 1,800 feet across the whirlpool to Canada and back. It's an attraction. It holds about 40 passengers. It's supported on 6 cables and a guide wire. It's never had an accident, and it was built by a Spanish engineer in 1916, and it's still operating to this day. Because they don't build things like they used to. Now, when you hear about daredevils going over Niagara Falls, and I'll talk about a few of them as we're going to Goat Island. Here's where they all go over. Canadian side. Why? Easy access into the river. The water below here is 180 feet deep, but there's no rocks on this side compared to the American side. From 1901 to 1995, there's been 15 attempts to go over the falls, and out of those 15 attempts, 10 have been successful. The other 5 died. It's been illegal since 1950. You can no longer go over the falls, you can no longer shoot these rapids. But if you do and survive, it's going to cost you now $15,000 fine. And you'll spend a few days in jail if you survive. Okay? Now, it's been illegal, you have to ask permission. Evel Knievel tried twice to take his jet motorcycle across here, but they denied him. But in June 2012, who got permission? From here, over there. Nick Lewinda from the Flying Lewinda's tightrope across where we're going to be standing after this when we leave, 1,800 feet across the Canadian Falls to the Canadian side in 26 minutes. It was on national TV. Did anyone see that? I was telling people 6 weeks before that he was never going to make it. because you're going to feel all that heavy mist and wind out there, but boy, he made a believer out of me. And when he got to the other side, he had to produce his passport. If he would have left it behind, like a lot of tourists do in their hotel room, they were going to make him walk all the way back. Okay. That was my lousy joke.
Somebody told us the last time on Carson, they made him wear a thing on his neck going off the line.
That was big Monday. They had a test from behind.
And he didn't want to.